Hey y'all, it's Matt from Jeep WK2 Adventures, and I am here with the 10,000 mile review of the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk. So for those of you that didn't watch my 5,000 mile review, this is a 2019 WK2 Trailhawk. It is the 3.6 liter, so it does not have the Hemi. On my 5,000 mile video, several people asked me why I didn't get the Hemi. There's notes there. Biggest reason, didn't need the Hemi. Save the $3,000. I'll apologize ahead of time. There is a loud road behind me. I've tried to make this video like 6 freaking times, and it either rains or I run out of places. So today we're going to push through. Hopefully the hum from that doesn't bother you and doesn't give me some type of odd tumor. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're 10,000 miles in, technically 10,793 miles. We hit the 10,000 mile mark in Gatlinburg during the Jeep invasion, but that was also the longest trip that we've done. So the new tires, that's the first road trip we've done with the all-terrain TAs. Little louder, but nevertheless handled really, really well. We got around 21.5 miles per gallon, so it did definitely affect the gas mileage. So what are we going to talk about today? First, I want to talk to you a little bit about overall experience and comfort, talk about the drive, talk about the interior, the seats, all that great stuff. Second, we're going to talk about reliability so far, challenges I've had, issues I've had, and then third, we'll just kind of talk around a quick summary of what I think of the vehicle. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk interior and comfort. 10,000 miles in under 5 months is a pretty good amount, considering this is not my only car, but it is my daily driver. So I commute about 70 miles round trip every day. I've done 2 road trips, one to Chicago, which is just a couple of 100 miles, and one down to Pigeon Forge around the Smoky Mountains and back, which was around 1,000 miles. On both of those trips, as well as during my daily drives, I really could not be happier with the comfort and ergonomics of this vehicle. The seats are fantastic, super comfortable. The cooled, chilled, air-conditioned, whatever you want to call it, vented seats really, really perform well. I've got it set up so when I remote start the car, they automatically come on. And even when the car is baking hot, it's amazing how quickly those seats cool off and really make you feel like the car is cooling off much quicker. The leather on the seats is great. I'm starting to show a little bit of wear on the driver's seat, but I've been applying a fair amount of Griot's leather care, and I think it's going to be okay. These seats seem like the type of seats that are going to show some age or aging, but not actually rip or tear. So I'm going to keep an eye on them, but for the most part, very happy with how soft and supple the seats have been. The steering wheel, when I bought the vehicle, had a very dry feel to it. And as we've been driving it, I've been putting more and more Griot's leather conditioner. Shout out to Griot's. If you're not using their products, they don't pay me. They're fantastic products. And it's really gotten a lot softer and more supple. A couple of things with the steering wheel, though, I do wish were different. One, I wish there was a little bit more thickness around the 10 and 2. I like to have a place to stick my thumb. Yes, this isn't a sports car, it's not a BMW, but it would be great if there was a little bit more to hold on to at the 10 and 2. Overall, the wheel diameter is not bad, the thickness of the grip, but I would change that. I also wish that it would come down one more notch. So the telescope depth is just fine, but the tilt, in my opinion, needs one more detent. I sit as low as possible in this car because I like to feel that I've got enough headroom, and that's where my arms need to be for these armrests to feel comfortable. To do that, I feel like the steering wheel is up just a little bit farther than I would like. In my Silverado, I can literally put the steering wheel in my lap. I don't need quite that much, but again, if I'm being super picky, I do wish that it was one level down. I talked a little bit about challenges that I had with where to put my phone in the 5,000 mile video. If you haven't seen it already, I did install the Pro Clip mount that goes over the vent It's not a true vent mount. It just uses the vent to mount itself. You can see in the video. Put a link to that down below. But now that I've solved for that, I'm really happy with its location, my ability to use the phone safely while I'm driving, but also have access to it if I need to. Climate controls have been fantastic. We did have a little bit of a challenge when driving in very humid conditions with the windows down, with the front window fogging up. And so not really sure what causes that. I think that has nothing to do with the Jeep, and it's probably just more of the way that this automatic climate control or any automatic climate control tries to adjust for temperature. We found that if we just set the temperature to the outside temperature for a few minutes, it would go away. I'm going to try putting some treatment on the windshield to see if that helps. The windshield, candidly, is a little dirty on the inside, so I don't know if that was contributing to it. Other than that, really no complaints. Everything about this interior is really, really well done. Plenty of soft touch materials. Big shout out to the floor mats that come from Jeep. I have long been a proponent of WeatherTech, and I've put WeatherTech mats in all of my vehicles and probably will continue to do so. But this Jeep came with the Jeep all-weather floor mats. I added the all-weather mat for the back, and these are without doubt the best OEM floor mats I've ever experienced. They are rubber. They are not the plastic molded that you see with a WeatherTech. This is a molded rubber. They hold up very, very well. They are very heavy, and in the back they do a great job of keeping stuff from sliding around. So we'll see how they hold up, but so far I would have expected with WeatherTechs to start to see some scuffing, maybe some discoloration after 10,000 miles. These, I hosed them off, brushed them off, and they looked brand new. So super happy with those so far. So yeah, that's pretty much the review of the interior. I could go into the Uconnect system, but you're going to find a million videos on YouTube that talk about Uconnect. It's fantastic. It works really, really well. There's really nothing about this interior that I would currently change. So yeah, really happy with the interior. Let's move on to the next subject. So back outside, let's talk about fit, finish, performance, and problems. So as I mentioned, a couple of long trips on this, but most of my driving has been back and forth to work. And so far, I don't have any major challenges, at least nothing diagnosed. But let's get those out of the way first off. One is I'm already starting to get some squeak in my brakes. At 10,000 miles, I was hoping this wouldn't be the case, but it is already starting to squeak just a little bit, especially after I've done some good stop and go traffic. So that's one thing that's starting to concern a little bit. It also, while we were in Pigeon Forge, started to develop a, for lack of a better term, a clunk. So when you put it in gear and first take off, there's a little bit of a clunk before it actually moves. Split second, but you do feel it, and I've not had that until the last probably 1,500 miles. So a couple of things we'll have to check out when we're getting the oil change done. Other than that, performance has been fantastic. The 3.6 liter, I really struggled back and forth of whether or not to do the Hemi or the 3.6. And candidly, the 3.6 has performed really, really well. I'm running a Canon air filter on it. I feel like it's got plenty of power, plenty of get up and go. We're gonna be towing with this before too long, so I'll have a review once we try towing with it. But so far, cruising through the mountains, it's not a sports car, but it certainly thinks it is, especially when you put it down into sport mode. In some of the curvy roads, I was really, really impressed by how well this vehicle did as a sport utility. Along the same lines, kind of sticking with the theme of the road trip, the adaptive cruise control and emergency braking and lane keep assist, all of that was amazing on this last road trip. Adaptive cruise control makes the longest of drives seem a lot more effortless. Not having to constantly apply brake and apply gas. We just set the cruise and go. Sure, we probably weren't as aggressive in traffic as we could have been, but it was fantastic to be able to literally just set our cruise, put a couple of spaces between the car in front of us, and more or less let the vehicle control the speed. Just let us keep track of changing lanes, things of that nature. So super happy with how that performed. We also really liked the Park Sense feature. It gets a little annoying that it's always giving you the beeps, but we parked in some really tight spaces, even for a vehicle this small, while we were down in Gatlinburg. And being able to use both the rear backup cam as well as all of the sensors both on the side and in the back was fantastic. So what are my overall thoughts? It's been, as I said, about 5 months, 10,000 plus miles. I've been able to do most of the things you're going to do in this vehicle. Snow, mud, rain, daily driving, road trips. And so far I can say I am 100% happy with this vehicle. For the last 2 or 3 years, I've literally been trying to find the road trip Swiss Army knife. That vehicle that is fun, that is comfortable, that's big enough to haul gear, haul stuff I might find along the way that I can't live without. Something that gives me an open air feel, which, while this is not a convertible, it does give you a ton of light. And with the sunroof open, it really does bathe this interior with sunlight. It will go down pretty much any road I throw at it. One of the biggest challenges that I had when I had the Mustang was, while it was a great vehicle from a highway standpoint, the minute that I got to something interesting that was down a dirt road or a gravel road, I had to second guess whether I could make that decision. I literally can take this Jeep anywhere. It is the perfect vehicle for all conditions. Am I going to take this to Moab? Probably not. And I talked about that in the 5,000 mile video. I am going to take it down fire roads. I'm going to take it down unpaved roads. I'm going to take it down sketchy roads in Indiana that are full of potholes. And I don't have to worry about this vehicle being challenged by those conditions. So literally, I can take this vehicle anywhere that I need to go for a road trip or for an adventure. And I do that at least once a month. So for me, this has been the perfect vehicle. But it is also a fair amount of luxury. As I mentioned, these seats are fantastic. The interior looks amazing. So it is a bit of a luxury feel for something that I'm driving to work every day. It is big enough that I can haul 4 people very comfortably with their luggage, but I can also park this very easily in a parking garage at work, in a tight space, in a downtown setting. So I'm really happy with its flexibility based on its size. So yeah, overall, if I had to do it again, I would definitely look at a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm also really happy with the value. So out the door, I paid around $41,000 for this. It was brand new. Sticker I think was $53,000, so I really got a great deal from the dealership. I did save money, as I've mentioned, by not going with the Hemi, but it does have every other option available with the exception of the rear DVD system. So for $41,000, there are very few vehicles that you can get into that have adaptive cruise control, that have an intelligent four-wheel drive system, that have the ability to raise and lower the suspension, that have a panoramic sunroof, that have leather seats that are heated and cooled. You get a lot of value for your money with a Jeep Grand Cherokee. And so I'm very happy that I made that decision and continue to be very happy with this vehicle. I do hope that this video was somewhat helpful for you guys, especially if you're thinking about buying a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm never going to be able to answer every question or cover every response, but I did want to just put something together to kind of give you an idea of what is out there. And if the Jeep Grand Cherokee is on your list of vehicles to look at, I definitely recommend taking it for a test drive. And if possible, take it for a test drive where you can beat it up a little bit. And I know dealerships don't like to do that, but take a road that's maybe not the best paved road, throw it into some curves. One of the things I think people don't realize is if you put this into sport mode, the vehicle lowers down, the suspension tightens up, the steering tightens up. It's not a Corvette, but it does handle really well on curvy roads. And so if you're thinking that this is just a boxy SUV that's not going to be fun, it is fun. So give it a look, and hopefully this video was helpful. If not, please post some comments below, and I'll try to add to my next video to provide you more information. Or if there's a specific thing about the vehicle that you'd like to know more about, drop me a line and let me know. It's easy for me to make these videos. I have nothing else to do on days like today when it's overcast and cold. So, till next time, thanks a lot. This has been Matt.